Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. Today, we are presenting webinar on how to build your unique personal brand online to land your dream job, organized by Applied Science and Humanities Department of Parul Polytechnic Institute, Parul University. The main agenda of this webinar is to gain knowledge about personal brand and personal branding and how can we establish our brand and authority as a university student and utilizing LinkedIn to generate organic job which leads the right way. I, Vaishali Nathwani, would like to introduce today's guest speaker, Quincy Molepe from South Africa. She is a career coach building an army of career-driven, free, confident, and courageous African young women. The traumatic experiences she has lived through taught her that freedom and healing can only happen when one pursues and lives a purpose-driven life, so that she has taken those experiences from her life and her successful career to develop a career-focused coaching program specifically designed for graduates and young professionals pursuing a corporate careers in Africa. She is also the founder of Hello Coach K, the co-founder of a Million Girls Foundation, editor-in-chief on K Insights, and board member of the Mamelodi Initiative. It's a privilege to welcome you, ma'am, and you can start with the session. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
I forgot to unmute myself again.
Okay.
Thank you. I was just saying thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I will get started right now into the presentation. Can you guys see my screen? Please let me know if you can. Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay, can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
So today I will be speaking about how to build your unique personal brand online. I mean, that introduction said everything, guys. My main mission, honestly, is to ensure that graduates and young professionals are confident in who they are, have the skills that they need to be competitive in the corporate job market. They know how to present themselves and they know how to network and build long-lasting relationships that are mutually beneficial. The reason why I focus on Africa in particular is because this is the market that I know, this is the market I've lived in and worked in, and this is the market that is obviously close to home. So whenever you guys are looking for a career coach as well, please be mindful of that. Be mindful that you are selecting somebody who understands your working environment if you choose to continue working within your borders. But we know we are living in a global market now, so you can work anywhere in the world. It's not so much anymore about where you are, but how you're able to reach people. On average, a person spends about 3 hours on their phones. And I know that this isn't necessarily all the time social media, but this is, you on your phone physically for 3 hours on average. And I'm wondering if you guys actually know what that looks like, what that social media footprint says about you in particular. And today I want to look at 2 examples before we get started on why your online personal brand is so important. I want us to look at 2 examples of people who use their social media and didn't quite think about what it says about them, and it quite honestly destroyed their careers for a while. The first one is Naomi H. I don't know how many of you guys remember this lady, but it was quite a big thing that happened years ago. And Naomi was so excited. She just found out that she made the internship at NASA, and she was so excited about this that she jumped right onto Twitter and she wanted to tell the world. You can see that I've blacked out where she used foul language, but she jumped on and she said, "Everyone I got accepted for a NASA internship." A gentleman by the name of Homer Hickman then comes in and says language. And by this, guys, he means 2 things. Not only just mind your language, right? To say you're forgetting that now that you've actually mentioned NASA, you are actually a representative of that organization. You are now representative of NASA. So how you behave and perform online is in direct relationship to the brand of NASA as well. She did not care one bit about what Mr. Hickman was trying to tell her or warn her about. She immediately responded to him in a very rude way and said, "Suck my, I'm working at NASA now." And Homer came back in to say, "Well, and I am on the National Space Council that oversees NASA." And the other tweet that we're looking at here just says, just a follow up for those who found this humorous, she actually lost her internship and has deleted her Twitter account. So this is an example of how social media and the use of that social media can actually harm your personal brand. The second one that I wanted to talk to today was Justine Sacco. And I think what's important here to note is that Justine was actually an experienced professional. So having embarrassing moments on social media isn't just limited or restricted to young people or graduates. Experienced people can also make the same mistakes. She was getting ready for a family holiday to Cape Town. So she was flying from New York to Cape Town. And she tweeted, "I'm going to Africa. Hope I don't get AIDS. Just kidding. I'm white." And she obviously thought that this was humorous. She didn't really think about it, I don't think. But this for me was also an example of those qualities that everybody looks for in a good candidate or in a leader, right? You want somebody who's empathetic. You want someone who's got high EQ, somebody who's fully aware and conscious about the environment that they are functioning in and working in. And in this tweet, Justine definitely showed that she did not have any of those qualities. And it was so funny to me. I wanted to show you guys how even Donald Trump started on this trend and said, "You know what, Justine is fired. This tweet was completely inappropriate. He has no clue what she was thinking." But this is where we are now, that if somebody like Donald Trump can also see this tweet and see how awful it was, it's incredible that she did not pick that up before she said sent. And this destroyed her career for almost 5 years before she was able to get back up and find something again. Now, your online presence is part of your personal brand. It includes your tweets, your Facebook, everything. But there is a difference, right? Your personal brand versus personal branding. Your personal brand is something that is embedded in the mind of others. This is how everyone else perceives you. It's how they see you and what they actually say about you. So remember that whatever you put out in the world, whether it's from your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, whatever social media platform is there, you're creating a social media footprint for yourself. And this is what people are going to draw on when they look for you and when they search for you. So I think it's really a good idea every once in a while to also Google yourself. So put your name in the search bar, Google yourself, and have a look at what information pops up about you, what people see first before they even come into contact with you, perhaps before they even come across your CV, right? And that will tell you whether or not you're giving a really good first impression or a poor one, but also will give an indication of where you need to start locking your social media handles, perhaps. And the second thing is your personal branding. This is the conscious actions that you will take to position yourself as an authority in your area of expertise. This is how you communicate your value to the rest of the world. This is you now controlling that message. This is you controlling the perception and the impression that people have on you and controlling that narrative. It's like, do you want to be seen as an authority? Do you want to be seen as able and competent and interesting? Or do you want to be seen like Naomi and Justine, right? Who have a completely different impression. The world sees them completely differently now. And I don't think there's anything that they can do really to justify that. That one mistake sometimes really can sit with you and carry over into your career. So those are the things that I want you guys to think about as we continue in this presentation, is the difference between your personal brand and your personal branding. And there are 4 areas for your personal branding. These are the assets that you guys will be able to use to control that message, right? Especially if you guys are graduates. I know I'm speaking to students. You guys are going to get ready to start entering the job market now. And you want to be very mindful of your assets that you can use to do that. You'll be able to use your CV, your LinkedIn profile, and your interviewing skills. Bear in mind here that with your CV, recruiters only spend on average 6 to 20 seconds scanning your CV. So you need to make sure that it's impactful, that it has all the information that it needs. And then your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is actually the chosen professional site for recruiters and decision makers across the world. Almost 60% of decision makers are actually on LinkedIn. Now, these are the people that can hire you on the spot if they really are impressed by your social media presence, impressed by your personal branding. And then your interview skills. This is an opportunity for you again, but this time in person, face to face, whether it's through a screen or you sitting across the table from someone. This is an opportunity for you again to give the best first impression of you. And I mean, if you understand the numbers around when by the time you get to an interview, that you are 6% of the total pool of people who actually applied for that job. So take it seriously, take time, invest in your interviewing skills as well. There are plenty of resources out there for that. I wanted to show you guys some stats here. So the first one is 87%, and these are recruiter stats. 87% of recruiters say that they use LinkedIn as their number one source for potential job candidates, but also they use LinkedIn to verify and validate candidates before shortlisting them for interviews. That is massive. And I hope it's starting to kind of settle in your mind now a little bit more why LinkedIn should be your preferred sort of online branding platform that you are using. And then the second stat here is the job applicant stat. And this is 1 in 6 applicants get shortlisted for the interviews. So, and this isn't just this. If you look at the actual trail, right? So your CV has to work for you. If you look at the trail of how you get there, it's like maybe on average 1,000 people apply for a job. Only about 25 of those are going to make it through the ATS system, get scanned and screened and found to be appropriate. And only six of those people, 6 to 10 of those people are actually going to get invited in for an interview. So I want to ask you guys today, is your LinkedIn profile working for you? Do you have one set up already? Do you know how LinkedIn functions? Do you know how to optimize that space to create organic job leads for yourself? And I think that's why I want to focus on this today. We're going to focus on how you can set up a killer LinkedIn profile that absolutely works for you. Perhaps there's something that you're doing, you don't see the value in it because you don't quite understand all of the components. And I hope that in this presentation today, that you will leave here understanding that a little bit better. So here are the components of an all-star LinkedIn profile. And this is important because LinkedIn actually gives statuses to LinkedIn profiles depending on how complete and how impressive your LinkedIn profile is. And the all-star rating is what you want to get to, because all-star profiles get 40 times more views and they are more likely to get contacted for job opportunities. And to get to an all-star rating, it's really not that difficult. It's not that complicated. You first of all have to make sure that you complete every single section on your LinkedIn profile. So you need to have a profile picture. You need to have a bio and about section. Your experience needs to be there. You need to have some stuff at featured. And the only way you can get stuff at featured is if you actually have some kind of online presence already. So you need to be posting and making original content. You need to have skills. You need to have your activity, and that is engaging on LinkedIn, commenting, reacting, creating your own content, and as well your education section. Now, let's start with the very first component. That's the first thing people are going to see when they come into your LinkedIn profile, and that's your profile picture. And you can get 21 times more views on your profile just by having a profile picture. How incredible is that? But now just having a profile picture isn't enough, right? You need to make sure that your profile picture is actually giving the right impression of you from the get-go. And I see this number one mistake that I see young people make all the time is they're so proud of graduating that they want to put up their graduation pictures as their profile picture. But studies have shown that actually recruiters and business people find that a little bit uncouth. They find it like you are showing off just a little bit. So they don't like seeing graduation pictures on LinkedIn. And I really want you guys to consider that. So if your profile picture right now is your graduation picture, I highly recommend that you go and change it. And remember, it doesn't have to be professional either. It can be a selfie. But you need to avoid these. So I have put here 7 tips for you guys to choose the perfect profile picture while remaining authentic to who you are, because this is where you can show a little bit more personality. So the first one was, I said, avoid an empty profile. So please do upload a picture. Avoid your graduation photos and avoid off-facing photos. So you want to show your face. People want to know who they will be meeting and interviewing with if it ever gets to that stage. But it also creates a sense of trustworthiness, right? If you're able to show people your face, you're basically saying, I'm an open book, I'm approachable, and you can engage and interact and have these conversations with me. The next one is avoid using a group or party photos. I know that we're young and we really want to show people that we're living our best lives and that we're vibrant, but that's not the place for that on LinkedIn. Your profile picture is supposed to showcase you. People shouldn't be trying to guess who you are now within this group, but also it's just, it's so ill-mannered to have a picture with you maybe holding a bottle of wine or a beer bottle or whatever the case may be, right? So you want to avoid doing that. Then you also want to avoid using Snapchat filters. And by Snapchat filters, I mean those little filters that give you bunny ears or that give you like a big dog tongue or put hearts all over the place or make you sparkle. If you want to put a filter on your profile picture, LinkedIn actually has a filter option, so you can go look at those filters and they still remain professional and authentic. And you also want to avoid using wedding or holiday pictures, purely because, you know, it's not, you want to constantly remain professional, if I can put it that way, right? Nobody wants to really see you in your swimsuit on holiday or in your sunglasses. And avoid posing with objects or pets. This was just found in a study. I have no idea why this offends people so much, but it is there, so I have to put it on this list for you guys also to be mindful of that. Now, we're still on the road to getting an all-star profile, and the next section is your bio and your about section. If you go have a look at my bio, my LinkedIn profile, and you'll go see my bio and my about section really gives you a snapshot of what I do, what I specialize in. So for you guys as graduates, I want you guys to be mindful of 3 things when it comes to your bio. That's the little title that goes right underneath your profile picture. I see a lot of graduates who post things like graduate or fresher, or they will add in their bio their degree or graduation. And those things don't necessarily tell people anything about where you are headed. And that's important, right? Because people want to know what they should be getting a hold of you for, what kind of job opportunities they should get a hold of you for. But also they use your bio for your profile to pop up when they're searching for people and they're searching for potential candidates. So if you want to start your career journey, for instance, in the investment banking space, your bio needs to have something in investment banking. I hope that makes sense to everybody. So if you are in the applied sciences space and there is a specific job that you want within that career, your bio needs to have that title in there. And I don't want you guys to panic. It doesn't mean that you are in that role. Everybody understands that you're a graduate because of your experience and your education section, right? But this will give people an indication of where you want to be and help you pop up in their searches, especially with recruiters. So your bio and about section is who you are, what are your achievements, what are your professional interests, are you open to network and work opportunities. So you're open to network and work opportunities on your profile, and you can decide whether or not you want that open to everybody on LinkedIn or if you want only recruiters to know that you're looking for work. The next section is your experience in education. And in your experience in education, I know as graduates, you might not necessarily have professional experience, and that's okay. They don't necessarily mean when you've worked in an office somewhere. Remember, as a graduate, nobody in their right mind should be expecting you to have that level of working experience just yet. So you need to be mindful and create your experience. You can also visit my YouTube channel because I actually did a series on this in Career Ready on how graduates and young professionals can create experience if they don't already have it. This is the work that you've done. If you've maybe taken on campus work, you've worked in the campus library or the computer lab, or you've been a teacher's assistant, that is experience and you need to put it on your LinkedIn profile. If you've been working to put yourself through school, that is an incredible, incredible thing, and you need to put that on your profile. Don't be embarrassed by your titles. If you're a waitress, I waitressed through school to pay for my essentials and to help pay for like food and things like that, because my rent was already covered, but I did need to supplement my income for those things. And that's what my CV had when I graduated. I was a waitress, I was a brand ambassador. I put all of those things in there, and I highlighted the things that I've learned or the value that I added during those roles. So if you're a waitress, for instance, don't just put there that you were a waitress. Really think about how you added value and how you changed things. Did you maybe realize that if you handled your tables in a specific process or manner, it increased your tips? Those are the kind of things that you want to list under your experience in terms of the description and your achievements and what you did during that time. And then your education is basic, but you do want to make sure that you're putting it in current, so your most recent education qualification all the way down to your high school education. The next section then is our skills and recommendations. So at skills, I noticed one thing that young people make a mistake on, and graduates, is that you want to go and find as many skills as possible that you can highlight. And you're not mindful that the top 3 skills are what will be highlighted on your profile. Microsoft is a skill. Microsoft Word is a skill. We all know that it is a skill, but it is not a skill that you want to highlight as a top 3 skill. So your top 3 skills that you're going to edit onto your profile need to be skills that you want to be considered an authority in, that you want to be considered an expert in, that you want to be known for. And once you find those 3 skills, adjust them on your profile so they show, and then go and ask your connections and network to actually endorse your skills as well, because the more endorsements you have on your profile, the better for your profile. And the last section is your featured and your posting. This is where your activity happens. You need to create content, guys, and I mean original content. Don't just share posts from people that you like and leave like the description blank. What you want to do here is you want to, if you're sharing that post, also make sure that you are sharing your own views and your own opinions on why you've shared that, because this will give people an opportunity to start understanding how you think. It will also start setting yourself as an authority in a specific area to say, you know what, I know I'm a graduate, I know I'm a young professional, I don't have 10 years experience, but this is my view on this topic. This is how I think about this. And you will soon see that you're going to get people who are aligned to you, who are going to be drawn to your profile and to who you are, because now they have a better sense of who you are. Now you have done it. You have an all-star LinkedIn profile, and now it's important for people to start to see you. It's important for people to know that you are there, and you know, they come into your profile, they're clicking on your profile, they see it now, it's all-star, and now you're going to need to be growing your network, connecting and engaging. And first impressions, guys, are critical. First impressions are crucial on LinkedIn. Remember your personal brand when connecting and communicating with anyone on LinkedIn. And these are the key things that I want you guys to keep in mind, because it's how you speak to people. It's how you share your opinion. It's, do you spam people? Do you harass them in their inboxes? And harassment doesn't necessarily just mean sexual harassment. It could mean, you know, if you ask somebody for help and they didn't get back to you, did you go back and respond to them and almost like be very aggressive to say, how dare you not respond to me? You know, that is harassment in itself as well. So just be mindful of those kind of things. You need to keep in mind the purpose of the connection. You want to grow your network, and you want to grow your network fast, but you also want to make sure that the network that you're growing is going to serve you and your career goals in the long run, right? So be mindful of that. Is why you're connecting with certain people. Go find people. Think about whether or not they could be your mentors. Think about whether or not they work in companies that you actually want to work for. And then also make sure that you're using professional language. And by professional language, I mean not slang, right? This has got nothing to do with your English ability. It's got everything to do with your manner and how you present yourself and whether or not you're able to articulate yourself. Okay, so it's whether or not when you inbox people, do you even start with, hi, good day, how are you? I hope you're well. I just wanted to send you a message, because, you know, that is how you're mindful of the language that you're using. And also just be mindful that not everybody will be of the same generation as you. So it's very difficult to try to use slang words on LinkedIn. You kind of want to use a form of communication that you will know that generally everybody will understand. Like, I'm still a bit young. My brother tries to help me keep updated with all the slang. So if you maybe messaged me and you said that was fire, I would understand you, but perhaps a CEO might not. And then don't immediately ask for something. So I see this mistake that is done countless times with my own profile is young people connect with me immediately and then they jump into my inbox and they start asking me for work. And there's a few things that's wrong with that. Number one, I'm a career coach, I'm not a recruiter. So it already shows me that you didn't go through my profile, you didn't read what I do, you didn't understand the content that I'm creating. So you have no idea who I am, you just saw something in my profile that made you think, well, this person has what I need. And that's not trying to build a mutually beneficial relationship, that's just trying to get what you want out of it. It's also quite annoying when you are on this platform and you've given people so much information and they don't do the basic 1 minute that it would take to actually read and comprehend. That's not a good sign. If you don't comprehend and understand what somebody does on LinkedIn, even though they've already provided all that information in the about section, in how they're sharing, it simply shows that you have no comprehension. And that is a key skill that every organization is looking for. You need to be able to read things to understand them, okay? So be mindful of that. And don't waste their time. So get to the point. I've had certain people who were very harassing. I ended up blocking them and reporting their profiles. And sometimes these are the people that just kind of comment and they just go, hi, hi, hi. You'll have 9 messages of hi with this person, really not getting to the point. And by the time you get to their message and say, hi, good day, how can I help you? They really have nothing of value to kind of add to the conversation. And remember that people on LinkedIn, because they're there to work, they are there to engage and conversate with you, but it is a professional networking platform. So it's good for people to really know why it is you're on their profile, why are you messaging me, why are you contacting me, how can I help you, what is it that you think I can help you with, right? So get to your point. Not everybody will also respond to you when you want them to respond. Life is happening in the back as well, so be patient and mind your manners. This is not a dating site. Please, guys, LinkedIn is not a dating site. You can go and find your potential boyfriend or girlfriend on many other social media platforms. But if you try to flirt with people on LinkedIn, that is a quick way to get your profile blocked and reported. And now I'm going to close off today's presentation with how you can generate organic job opportunities. We've spoken about, on average, people are spending 3 hours a day on their phones. I'm pretty sure now with COVID and all of us kind of being on lockdown, so many more of us are online a lot more. I know that I do most of my work on my phone as well. So I am on my phone maybe 6 hours of the day. And I want you guys to start thinking about whether or not that is a productive use of their time. We use social media for different things, right? I'm on my phone. If I'm on Facebook, it's because I kind of want to relax. I want to engage. I maybe want to share with my personal private network. I just want to kind of calm down. I go on TikTok for the same reasons. I just want to go and laugh for a little bit. But I'm not going to spend 3 hours on TikTok. And I think for you guys as well, as you guys are young people and you're graduates, you need to be mindful of the careers that you want. You need to be mindful of the opportunities that are out there for you. And you want to get ahead of the curve. So you want to start early and you want to start making sure that you are utilizing your LinkedIn profile to help you generate organic job opportunities. So let's go back to those 3 hours. How are you spending those 3 hours? Even if you just give LinkedIn an hour a day, guys, I promise you it'll make such a massive difference in how you are able to establish yourself within that network and establish yourself within that place, but just your reach as well and your connections. So firstly, you need to be posting original content. Less than 1% of users on LinkedIn actually create content. That sounds crazy, right? Because when you're on LinkedIn and you're scrolling through the feeds, it looks like so many people are commenting, but in a sea of 700, like 1% of 700 million is still millions of people, but it's a very small portion of people who are creating content. And LinkedIn rewards you for creating content. I want you guys to know that. LinkedIn rewards you for creating content. It rewards you for engaging. It rewards you for commenting. And by reward, I mean that it shows your profile to a lot more people. So just by posting content and engaging in other people's content, already LinkedIn is showing your profile to more and more people who are going to be aligned to you. Remember I said in your bio, you will put what kind of jobs and roles you're kind of looking for. In your about section, you're going to have keywords as well that speak to your preferred industry, speak to your preferred expertise, and then of course the network that you are building. So with every connection that you're making that's in line with your career goals, the LinkedIn algorithm is remembering that. So it will also try to reach people in line with the kind of network that you're trying to grow as well. Engage in other people's posts as well as what I was saying. And now we really need to be mindful of this, right? So these two actually speak to each other. Engage in other people's posts and make valuable contributions. Engaging doesn't just mean liking a post. It also means comment. And I want you guys to start commenting a lot more. I know it's a bit nerve-wracking because you're thinking there's so many professionals out there. I don't want anybody to laugh at my opinion. I don't want anybody to kind of second guess me or like call me out. But that's not the LinkedIn profile that we're on, guys. That really isn't this type of space. There's very little trolling that happens on LinkedIn. That's the kind of engagement that you might find on Facebook and Twitter, but that's not the platform here. Always remember that LinkedIn is a professional network and a professional platform. So when you're making and giving your opinion, just be mindful of how you're giving it off, right? Think of your tone. Are you fighting, or are you really just trying to give your insights and your thoughts on this opinion? It's okay to disagree with people as well. It's okay that you have a different opinion, right? But it's always how you share that difference in opinion that matters. So activity is engaging, commenting or reacting to a post, but also creating your own original content. And the more active you are on LinkedIn, the better your reach and visibility will be as well. So when you're making valuable contribution, activity means, commenting like I mentioned, but valuable contribution. So don't just comment on somebody's post, great, or awesome, or nice, right? Put in a couple of sentences there, let people know how you think, let people know what your thought really was, so that they can also get a chance to know you better. You never know the kind of conversations that are going to happen in the back where you are not there. And the more you engage and the more you show people how you think, you are literally creating ambassadors for yourself in the back. And I'll give you an example. I create content on LinkedIn. I create career-focused interview coaching content on LinkedIn. And I recently had a lady come up to me. She emailed me and she said, you know what, we were busy building this thing. And one of our clients, one of our professional networks said that we need to contact you for this because you focus on career coaching for graduates. I don't know who sent that referral because I don't have a network in that company and in that space, or at least I didn't think I did. And because of my LinkedIn profile, because of my content, there are people out there who are connecting with it, who understand what it is I'm trying to do, and they are championing me in places that I have no idea. And you want that for yourself as well, because that's how you're going to start generating organic job opportunities. Someone's going to see a comment of yours and think, oh my goodness, we like the way this person thinks. That's actually somebody that we need in our organization. Or they'll recommend you and refer you, right? But the more you engage, the more people see your post, the more people get a better understanding of your personal brand. And remember, with your personal branding, that is engaging and commenting. That is you controlling the narrative of how people perceive you. And then strategic networking, really consider where you want your career to go. Like, who are your potential mentors? What companies and organizations do you want to be working on? And who do you want to actually see you? So start your networking focused on those. Put together your job, your career plan. Put that together and highlight the 5 companies for you that are the companies that you want to get into, and start connecting with people within those organizations. Go to their profiles, check if they're active on LinkedIn, and every time they post, comment, because you also want to be in the forefront of their mind the whole time, right? You want them to consider you every time. You want them to remember, oh, you know what? That's Quincy commenting again. I like her, right? You kind of want that. And then you want to connect outside your comfort zone. LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to network with people across the globe, not just with people who are at arm's length with you. So take that opportunity to do so. And don't be shy to do so either. But just remember my tips on how to connect and how to network, right? Be mindful, be mannered, seek mutually beneficial sort of things that you guys can talk about or add value, right? Don't underestimate third connections either, but you will need to send a note with your connection to say, hi, we have these people in common, or perhaps, hi, I found your profile so interesting because I'm trying to get into this field and I thought I could learn a few things from you. Do you mind connecting? That's how you make connections on LinkedIn, and that's how you also increase the rate at which people will actually accept your invitation requests as well, right? And the more people outside of your network, your country, your preferred industry as well, what are you doing? You are increasing your visibility and you're increasing your reach. And the last thing that I want to say to you is do not be spammed, because do not spam. Because if you spam people, if you irritate people, everything else that we've spoken about right now is counterproductive, right? You then have done all of that stuff for nothing if you are spamming people or if you are considered an annoyance in people's inbox. Because like any other community, LinkedIn is a community and people do talk. So you don't want to find yourself in a position where your LinkedIn profile is reported and deleted or blocked because you can't get it back. You really can't. I'm not sure if LinkedIn has changed that yet, but I know from a couple of months ago, if your LinkedIn profile is blocked and deleted, you cannot get that profile back. And that is just such a waste because, like we mentioned, 87% of recruiters are on here and 60% of decision makers are on here. So you want to be careful how you use your LinkedIn profile as well and how you engage with people. Okay, so be patient with them. If you send them an inbox explaining who you are and what it is you need, it might take a couple of hours, it might take a couple of days for them to get to you. I know my LinkedIn inbox is crazy, and whenever I respond, I do say, thank you so much for your patience in waiting for me to get back to you. I'm literally going through every inbox and I'm trying to get through to everybody who messages me there as well. And that is the end of my presentation today, guys. I want you guys to take all of this information about your online branding, be mindful of what your social media says about you, because that is the personal brand that is out there that speaks to who you are, and you can control that narrative now. So be mindful. Are you trolling people? Because that's your footprint, right? Be mindful of what it is you are laughing at or find hilarious, the type of stuff you're sharing. Make sure that all your other social media handles are locked. Your privacy settings are up. Be considerate of how people can get a hold of you and contact you as well. And go out there and just empower your purpose. You have an opportunity now to start building on your personal online brand and start and for people to start to get to know you a little bit better and connect with you. Very important here, and connect with you on a human level, because you are being hired by another human. So start engaging and start connecting to human beings out there. You can stay in touch with me. You can find me on my LinkedIn profile. You can find me on Instagram, and I constantly post weekly podcasts on my career ready sessions, and these are sessions that are just focused on helping you guys sort of navigate the corporate space and get ready for the working environment as well, which I hope adds value to you guys. Thank you so much for your time. That is me.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this beautiful session. Hello?
Hi, thank you so much.
Yes.
I was just trying to close everything.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vaishali. It was absolutely amazing. I appreciate the time.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Can you turn your video, ma'am?
I think my screen is just locked because my video
Okay,
should be
okay.
on now.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just try that again.
It's okay, ma'am.
I think
No
all right, the
issue.
commands are just a bit slow.
Yeah, no issue. Yes, students, any questions from your end? Manpreet?
Yes, ma'am. I have one question here. Uh,
Yes.
yes, ma'am. So, is there any particular time to upload your content or a post?
Is there, sorry, you broke up there. Is there a particular time too?
To upload your content or a post on social media? Like today,
No,
I am uploading. Yeah, ma'am.
yeah, no, so you can post your content anytime. Remember as well on LinkedIn, it's a global market, so there are different time zones everywhere. So you just be mindful of your own time. Generally, when people first wake up, the first thing they do is they grab their phone and they go on their phone. So if you're posting early in the morning and late afternoon as well, that's a good time to be posting, because that's when people generally are checking and are coming onto LinkedIn and on their profile. Man, does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. And second question is
Okay.
that how to manage your time on social media. Let's say I am on a platform of Twitter plus Facebook plus Instagram as well, and I need to manage all these platforms, right? As well as besides
Yeah.
this, I am a student at Parul University. So how will
Yeah.
I be getting? How I will be managing all this time?
Yeah, you see, that's why I mentioned you need to pick which one is most important to you right now, right, man? My presentation was all about LinkedIn because if you're looking for work, especially in whatever industry you're in, most likely the people that are going to be hiring you are on LinkedIn and not necessarily Instagram. Right? Instagram doesn't necessarily have a professional network unless if you're like a graphic designer, if you do web development, Instagram might be a good place to also start growing that network because it's very visual and you can start posting content of your visual work on Instagram. But if you are in a more sort of corporate space, if you are going to be working in a professional kind of setup or environment, then LinkedIn is really where you want to be spending your time on. So managing your time is up to you. Remember, mental health is also important, right? So it's not just about you focusing all of your attention on LinkedIn and all of your attention on your career goals. So every once in a while, you are going to need to take a breather and go to your Facebook if that's where you go to calm down, to kind of relax, to kind of forget what's going on in the world, and you just want to go see good news and happy time stuff. But yes, I would be dedicating some time, a good proportion of my time, to spending on LinkedIn instead as you're getting ready and you're preparing yourself to actually graduate and enter the job market. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, any questions? Okay. So, ma'am, there are questions from our end.
Okay.
How can we make our personal brand stand out from others through LinkedIn?
Okay, so how you stand out from other people on LinkedIn is purely from the way that you think, right? You obviously, as a human being, you are unique and you're different. So your profile picture is going to be different. Your cover photo is going to be different. Your history is also going to be different, right? You might go to school with the same people, but how you experienced that, your history is different. So what makes you different and what makes you stand out, honestly, is in what you share. Critical thinking is a huge soft skill that is missing and that is lacking in the professional space, and recruiters are constantly crying, hiring managers and potential employers are constantly crying that they're not able to find candidates who actually have this level of soft skills. So when you're posting and you're creating your content and sharing your opinions, and I promise you, I know it sounds like there's a lot to think about, like when I'm telling you guys about critical thinking and communication skills and leadership skills and your EQ, are you empathetic to people? But those are really things that end up coming naturally to you, right? Like you will have things that are important to you. You will have stances, perhaps environmental issues, perhaps there is actually something that is of interest to you, and you will constantly be posting on those things that are important to you so that other people can actually get a sense of who you are as a person. It's not always necessarily about what recruiters and candidates are looking for, right? You're not trying to fit their mold. You're trying to show them that actually the mold is me. And this is who I am. I'm going to share my opinion on this article that I just read today on applied sciences. I read it and these were my takeaways on it. And that is how you stand out, guys, because not everybody is doing that. There's so many people that are scared to share their opinions on LinkedIn. And if you just start doing that, you're already setting yourself apart.
Yes, ma'am. And how can we write strong personal branding statements for LinkedIn?
Please say that again, Bye.
How can we write a strong personal branding statement?
Oh, okay. A strong personal statement for LinkedIn. Was that your question?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so your about section can actually play and you can get creative. So it doesn't have to be like very formal. Like if you guys can go have a look at my LinkedIn profile, it really does give people just a brief, because of the nature of my work, it gives people a brief insight on my journey. Like how did I get here, right? Because that's what people will be interested in knowing. It's how did I go from a corporate environment to being a career coach? But also what is my mission? And that's what I shared in my about section. This is my mission and this is what I'm trying to achieve. And that's what your about section actually is. So as a graduate, you'll notice like with more experienced professionals, their about section will always have like the experience. I have 5 years experience in this and this is what I did and I specialize here and these are my achievements. So bear that in mind, because your about section will change. As you move up in your career and you have a little bit more experience, you want to be changing your about section to match where you are in your life. So right now as a graduate, I would recommend that your about section is more an indication of your interests and your career goals. So you will say, I am Anash, and I currently study at Parul University. I'm in the Applied Sciences and Humanities faculty, and the reason I study what I study is because of this. And you give them some insight into it, because we all have our personal stories on why we studied what we studied, right? Your interest and what sparked you in that direction. I'm interested in applied science because of this. And my mission with this, I really want to start working for an organization that will allow me the time and the space to utilize the skills I'm learning at university to change the world. And whatever that change looks like to you, mention that. And then right at the bottom as a graduate, you can also maybe just leave a note that says, thank you so much for taking the time to read this. Do get in touch with me or connect with me if you have any opportunities for me. So that's how I would sort of structure my about section on LinkedIn if I was a graduate.
It should be well mannered, right?
Yes. Yes.
Madam, you talked about featured and post in profile during your presentation, right? Can you elaborate that thing?
Yes, so LinkedIn has a featured section. So if you go to your LinkedIn profile, I wonder if I can quickly, I don't know if we have the time, Vinesh. I don't know if my system will let me. I wanted to log in and show you guys on my system what it looks like. But, okay. Yeah, I think my system is too slow to do that. I'll keep losing you guys, so I'm not going to do that.
You can just explain it.
But yes, I'll just explain. So right at the bottom, it'll be your profile picture, your bio, your about section, I think, and then there will be like a tab that says featured section. So remember I said at the beginning as well, Google yourself. It's good to Google yourself to see what's out there. Perhaps you've been mentioned in articles somewhere, or maybe you guys did something on campus and you are part of the video. There's like a YouTube video that's going out there as well that has you featured in it. That's what your featured section is about. It's for you to showcase to the world a little bit more who you are, but also visually on LinkedIn. So you can upload YouTube links onto your featured section. You can even upload presentations. So if you really are a more exciting kind of person and you've really done a sort of little PowerPoint presentation on who you are and what your interests are, you can upload that in your featured section as well. But as you develop your posts and your content on LinkedIn, if you get one and like people really react well to it or you're proud of it, you can also put that in your featured section. So this gives people a snapshot into your profile before they even go into your activity and into your profile. Once they open up your profile and you've got a nice string of content at your featured section that you feel like represents you well, then they can do that and click there. So that is the purpose of the featured section.
Okay, ma'am. And how can we deal with a person who can't be patient of our answer? As you discussed with us that sometimes they will just write it down 2-3 times, hi, and hi.
Yeah.
So how can we deal with that person?
So I actually had one and I wanted to see how long this person was just going to keep saying hi and hi and hi before they maybe started like sharing, because you also have to use discernment for yourself and see who is serious and who isn't. Some people, like we mentioned, guys, are on these platforms to harass. Some people are here to play. I don't know how many profiles I've had to block because those people who start with hi end up being, you know, you eventually connect and you say, hi, good day, how can I help you? And he comes back with a very sexualized response, right? So I personally know that if anybody comes to me and just starts saying, hi, I immediately ignore, because you're going to add no value to my life. And that's why I say, like, get to the point. If you're going to send somebody a message on LinkedIn, you need to send a message with at least 120 characters, right? That says good day or hi or afternoon. This is who I am. This is how I came across your profile in the first place. We might not be connected, or we are connected, but I really love what you posted today about this and this and this, and I thought I should let you know. That's how you stay in the forefront of people's minds all the time, because you don't always have to inbox people if you need something. Like sometimes you can just message somebody and let them know that I see what you're doing and I think what you're doing is really cool. And you might find that you'll get a better response that way from people than if you're inboxing them, hi, all the time.
So we have to rectify, right, that who is important to us, and then we can also block the person.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Sometimes we are afraid of commenting on someone's post, as we think that someone will laugh at our comment. So, how can we deal with that?
Yeah, I think that is an internal emotion, right? That is whenever you're feeling a bit scared or embarrassed about something, it's really more of an internalized emotion. That's you sort of projecting how other people are going to receive you, and it's not necessarily always the truth, right? We have two thoughts or two ways of thinking that are constantly going on in our heads. We have positive affirmation and we have negative affirmation. And I know for myself as well, a lot of the time, it's the negative affirmation that starts first. And then you have to force yourself to correct that, to course correct that with positive affirmation. So the minute you're sitting there going, I want to comment on this, and that little negative, it's almost like an angel and a devil on your shoulder, right? The minute the little devil starts speaking, you can't comment, they're going to laugh at you. You shut that down in your mind immediately, and you bring up your positive affirmation, and you say, but oh, what if they like it? Oh, but what if I start getting reactions? Oh, but what if somebody actually messages me and says, I agree with you too. I really do think that's what we should be doing, right? So you need to start kicking those negative thoughts out with positive affirmation as well. But also, notice the trends on the platforms that you're on. For me, that is a valid fear if you're on Twitter, right? Because people on Twitter behave differently. On Twitter, it's about trolling. It's about who can get the most retweets. And it's like the most, if the comment is the most inflammatory comments, get the most attention. So of course, maybe be mindful of that on Twitter, but when you're on LinkedIn is a totally different beast on its own. It's a professional social media platform. So the same way I'm telling you as a young person to be mannered, I promise you all the experienced professionals are also trying to be mannered. So if anybody even disagrees with your opinion, they will come in a mannered way and say, you know what, Quincy, I hear you, but this is my opinion on this. And that is now having a conversation. We're having a conversation. We're not fighting. We're not bullying one another. We're not trolling one another. So yes, it's two aspects. It's first of all, correct what's going on in your mind. And secondly, understand the platform that you're on and the platform that you're using. And that will really dispel a lot of that irrational fear on commenting. No one is going to laugh at you on LinkedIn.
Yes, that's true, ma'am. We have to frame those words and then we have to comment. Yes, that's and what is the right time to ask for our work on LinkedIn? As you said that we just say hi and hello and just write down what we want the thing from anyone else, right? So what is the right time for that?
So I love that question, and I think it's an important question to ask because I know that, with the job market being more and more competitive, everybody's just so eager. It's like you really want to get that job and you want to get it now. But getting jobs is all about relationship building. Okay, it's really all about how you're connecting. I mentioned it's a human being hiring another human being. Yes, they use systems to help them along the way, but ultimately the decision is going to be made by another person. So you want to be mindful of that in particular. So you want to build relationships on LinkedIn. That's why I mentioned organic job opportunities or organic job generating. So there's two ways. It's the organic way, and then it's the more aggressive way, which is the more like proactive way that you can do it. The organic way is simply building relationships. Find mentors, find senior representatives, find recruiters and connect with them, and then be visible. And they will reach out to you when they have stuff that is sitting on their table that might suit your profile. They will, I promise you. The other way is for when you're actually looking. So maybe you'll look for a job post and it's the right one for you and you're like, I'm going to apply to this. Come back onto LinkedIn and actually, or Google the company and see if you can find the recruiter, see if you can message the recruiter on LinkedIn and say, good day, I'm Mrs. Recruiter. I just applied for a job at your company and I would really appreciate it if you could check my application for this job because I think I'm really suited for this position and this is why. And that's how you then again get in the forefront of their mind so that they know, like, okay, this person is there, is available, and is like, is enthusiastic about the job. So it's never a good time to ask somebody for work just as you've connected with them. You need to build a relationship first. You need to establish some kind of personal rapport. Like, why would they just give you a job? They don't know you. They don't know anything about you. And they're not entitled to give you a job. So build that relationship first and establish that rapport. And also don't just send recruiters your CV on LinkedIn. Ask them first. Say, good day, Madam Recruiter. I've noticed that you're a recruiter for this industry or this space. Do you mind if I send you my CV? And then they will direct you on where you can send your CV to instead of bombarding them and that word spamming them, right? Okay, so that would be my advice to that, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And the last one, how can we connect outside from our comfort zone?
Oh yeah, that's a tricky one because I think I'm also a very private person. I'm actually also quite a private person. It might not seem like it over this presentation, but I am. And it has taken a bit of work as well. But you need to do that. I think just do it. Firstly, start off with the people that are recommended on your LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn will recommend people to you to say, hey, Dr. Patel, it looks like these people might have mutual connections to you. Do you want to connect with them? It's always easier for people to accept you if they can see that you have mutual connections. It's the third connections that are a little bit trickier because the third connections have nothing in common with you, right? You don't have mutual connections. You maybe didn't even go to the same school. You don't live in the same area. But they are of interest to you because you already know what your career plan is and you want to connect with maybe the managing director of a company that you want to work at, and they're a third connection to you. Honestly, you just have to put on your big girl and big boy pants and send that note, press, send a note, and always have like a pre-edited note. You can like prepare like a 2-liner because it gives you limited space, right? I think it's about 80 characters or something that you can use in that initial connection request. Just type it out for yourself somewhere. That's a quick one. Says, hi, I'm connecting with you because I found your profile interesting. I promise you that's enough. I found your profile interesting. Do you mind connecting? And just do it and just send it off. And whether they connect or not, always just be mindful that it's not always you, right? Rejection isn't always personal. Sometimes it's because that person isn't very active on LinkedIn. So they don't see your request and it just kind of throws it out of the system. But just keep consistent, be at it, because the more you grow your LinkedIn profile, the more you will start to see other people will come and start asking to connect with you. So it's almost like a cycle that just builds on top of itself. So I just say, just keep at it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was nice talking with you, and it was a very beautiful session.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad. I'm glad it was. I think more than anything, I do try to talk more. I do try to give these sessions because I think it's important that our young people really start to build their confidence now and start to build and develop their authority on the online presence space. So I'm glad if it added even 2% value, then I'm happy with today as well. I appreciate the invite as well.
Yes, this is very important. Yes.
That's
thank
great.
You. Yes, thank you, ma'am, for giving us your valuable time. Yes, I would like to thank Mr. Hemal Patel, sir. Then the HOD of our department, the HR of our institute, Professor Jatin Vaidya, sir. the Academic Director Dr. Mahesh Bhatt sir, and the President of our university Dr. Devanshu Patel sir for motivating and supporting us continuously. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants and the students who were unable to hear for this webinar. Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.